You are listening to The Lady K Show. Everything in health, wealth, and the in-between. Success tips, relationships, health, wellness, entrepreneurship, business insights, leadership, current events. All these things you can find and more on The Lady K Show. Welcome to The Lady K Show. Today on the show, I am speaking with Naima Mohammed. She is a blogger and a writer. She was born in the South Bronx. I actually want to start off by telling you that I actually love Naima so much. I mean, she's just such a female, strong, a female entrepreneur. I love this lady. So, I mean, let's just get a little bit more into her background here. She actually, from the South Bronx of New York, surrounded, grew up in poverty from her parents, somehow managed to expose her to a wide range of different, from dance to African history. She's actually currently the co-host of a podcast called Tea with Queen and Jay, which is actually currently on iTunes. She's also a former co-host of Full Deck Online Radio. And that's a division, Three Disciples Radio. And let's see what else she has. She has her own blog, Miss Vixen Mag. And, welcome to the show, Naima. I'm so glad to have you.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate this.
Oh, yes. Like I was telling everyone, I mean, I am just so excited to have you because I admire your commitment and your drive as a female entrepreneur. I just love that. I'm going to ask you later on in the show, actually, about what it takes to actually be a female entrepreneur, but we'll get into that. But right now, because I know you actually started Vixen Mag blog, and I wanted to know, how did that actually come about?
Okay, Vixen for me, it initially started, I started it 3 years ago, and it started in my mind around the time, actually Vixen existed in my mind for probably 5 years. But it came into fruition around that time when the whole VH1 Basketball Wives reality show thing popped off. And for me, it was just I'm sick of how Black women look on television. But that was before we had Scandal. That was before we had sitcoms or TV shows that had Black women as protagonists as far as television. Now we have a lot more views of Black women, but 3 or 4 years ago it was kind of the reality girl. And that woman exists, and that's fine that she exists, but it was I needed to put some kind of energy into the universe of other images of Black women. So it kind of just started of me just being annoyed, and I wanted to counter what I was being fed from media. It has since grown to me. I'm kind of right now on a supporting Black media rampage at the moment, mostly because I realize how much the media influences people's thought. So I'm very big on that. So that's how Ms. Vixen has started, and that's how Ms. Vixen and everything else I'm doing has kind of come into play.
All right, we're going to get into a little bit more about your, recent or your new efforts, but let's go back here a little bit. I definitely know that you provoke people. I know when you started your Miss Vixen blog, I mean, going through some of those posts, it was almost like, wow, it provoked a person to really think, not in a bad way, you know what I mean, but it just kind of pushed you up. It made you really think. So it's almost as if you don't hold back when it comes to topics, So what drives you and motivates you to be so bold?
That's kind of my personality. I'm very bold in thought and bold in action. I kind of am an open book person, period. It's like an extension of my personality anyway. I'm pretty no holds barred. Take it or leave it. You love it or you don't. I don't really care, to be honest. But I think it was very important to me to be true to myself, even when it comes to Ms. Vixen or any other thing I write. I believe in integrity and honesty. So I try my best to make sure I do that within Mixed Fiction as well. So that's why I don't hold back. That's why I kind of just, there's really nothing there's nothing I would say no to, because I feel that there's pieces that speak to everyone. So that's why I kind of never kind of hold back when it comes to Mixed Fiction.
I mean, that's really, having a word, being able to be vocal about your opinion or your thoughts, a lot of people aren't really comfortable with doing that. A lot of people are so used to going along with the norm. Now, how do you actually combat that, in society when you're supposed to act and behave one way, and then you're like a bombshell, you come out and you're like a whole different way? How does that really, how do you feel the responses have been to you towards that?
I do get some slack, which is fine. I think the reason why I'm not affected by it a whole lot is because I've always been this person. This is not like